Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Agree to Disagree here on the TNAM Radio Network here at TheNewAmericanMedia.com. My name is Brian Engelman and you are listening to us, as you have been perhaps for the whole 5.5 years that we've been doing shows. If not, hey, why don't you go to TheNewAmericanMedia.com and check out what we've got going on over there. Subscribe, YouTube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. 5.5 years of archived content. There's plenty of interesting stuff. Some sports, some spirituality, some comedy, some freedom, a lot of politics, funny stuff. We want you to link up with all the places that we're at. Instagram, do a search for The New American Media. Facebook, search The New American Media. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. Definitely, I love the YouTube format. I love, the likes, the thumbs up, the thumbs down, add it to categories, playlists, invite your friends, subscribe to it, leave your comments. Check out the programs and leave your thoughts underneath. Leave your comments. Love continuing the conversation over there. Facebook, man, it's instantaneous. Join our team. Link up. It is beautiful. It's a wonderful time to be alive. And I want to give special thanks to Mr. John B. Wells, who was our first guest of the evening. We're going to split it up, and we're going to go to Nicole Nogrady right now. We got to talk about this Donald Trump thing. What an incredible turn of events. What an amazing thing that we've seen. I have many people in my circles. I have some people that are that have been pro-Trump for a very long time. I have people that are very pro-Trump. I have people that are never Trump. I have people that were Bernie. Or, we all do, though, don't we? Come on. Nobody lives in a bubble so small that it's only people exactly like you. But I'll tell you what, the media, maybe that is what it was. Maybe the Beltway, the college professor crowd, the people that run all of these air quote, well, I won't even call them mainstream media. The dinosaur, they're fading fast. If you wanted to see the last gasp of the old American media, go take a look at it. You watched it whimper. You watched it be confused and baffled. They wonder why it didn't go the way that they thought the election was going to go. They rigged it. They hid all of the important evil dirt on Hillary Clinton, and they just slammed Donald Trump. It was completely one-sided and biased, and it was ridiculous. It was transparent. It was obvious. You looked like fools. Now, look, I'm in the camp where I was undecided most of the election. No, from the beginning. I laughed at some of the things Donald Trump said and did because they were kind of funny. I liked the way that it looked like he could take a punch and he could stay standing and he could hit back. I also watched him hit, below the belt, take a couple of cheap shots of his own and kind of go off the rails a little bit. I'm like, whoa, buddy, this job kind of requires a temperament. But then you look at way too much temperament and you realize that she's controlled by the Saudis and the banks. Insert the name of other rich foreign dignitaries and vast realms of corporate monetary influence. Add all those together and realize those were all of the people controlling the strings attached to the puppet, the marionette, which is Hillary Clinton. And I had to make a choice. Do I roll the dice on somebody that I'm a little iffy about? I got some reservations. I got some concerns. Or do I go with someone who I know is corrupt? Someone who lied about Benghazi, somebody who had a private email server that was funneling tens of millions of dollars through her husband's foundation, selling your influence to influence policy. It was look, if you paid attention, it was obvious that she was unelectable, that you could not in good conscience vote for her. And look, if some people want to give a little bit more credence to the Trump accusers, I don't. Bill Clinton had to actually pay 6 digits The Juanita Broderick stuff, getting impeached from Congress, the spirit cooking stuff. All you had to do was pay attention and look at these people. You see Hillary falling and wobbling into a van, being rustled away. Oh, no, it's just pneumonia or something. Okay. Look, I'm glad we made this choice, and I hope it's the right one. And I have reservations. And no, I thought what Trump said, his comments were very strange. You know, the ones, the Access Hollywood ones that were recorded on a hot mic moment on a bus with some dude named Billy Bush, who I didn't even know existed until that tape came out. I heard the way it was said, and some people said it was implied force, and I just, well, okay, I mean, just saying, when you're that rich and powerful, like, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, and that's a scary megalomaniacal thing that it's a bad tendency to look for. But the point of the matter is, he's gone this whole time in his career without being accused of a whole ton of things. And when you're that rich and you're that powerful, hey, I just had to make the determination and say, what is there something I can get behind? And there were components of Trump that I could get behind, others that I couldn't. So no, I wouldn't say that he won me over. I will say that I voted against Hillary Clinton. I did it twice. I did it once for Bernie Sanders, not because I'm going to vote socialist ever in my life, but because I'm in California and I was allowed to do that. So I pulled the lever against Hillary for Bernie. And it's funny. A lot of people are wondering right now, could Bernie have actually beaten Trump? I don't know, but it would have been interesting to see. So anyhow, I want to continue this conversation. It's just been an astonishing time to be alive, and I'm going to bring in Nicole Nogrady to talk about it a little bit. That's the beauty of joining up on Facebook and Instagram and all these social media outlets. Conversations continue, and it's a wonderful thing. Wait, did that go through? Did that phone call not go through? That was really strange, actually. Here, let's try that again. Here we go. All right. Take two, shall we?
Hello, you've reached Nicole Nogrady with
Fun. Gotta tell you, the technical glitches that I have had. It's interesting. We're crossing paths. Oh no, we're not gonna go that route. Sorry, bear with me for just a moment. I'm the producer. I'm the engineer. I'm the host.
Hello, you've reached Nicole Nogrady with Bonnie.
Oh my. I mean, I could try it. Let's see if it works. Alright, here goes nothing. Alright, we'll try it this way.
Hey.
No guarantees that you can hear me on this line. Can you hear me on this line?
So far, yes.
Alright, well, let's continue this as long as we can understand each other. All right, good. Well, we're trying it this way. I was just telling everybody in my opening intro, my monologue, my ramblings, just about the fun technical glitches that we've ran into pretty much this whole summer. But hey, better things are on the horizon, and I'll tell you what, we really dodged a bullet as a nation and got through something where I was really nervous it was going to go the opposite way, Nicole. I was so anti-Hillary, and I was just telling the listeners, too. I'd actually be really curious to get your thoughts on this. The conversation continuing, in between radio shows, in between interviews, and, when we go places like the DNC, the RNC, and it's all online. Have you enjoyed the conversations and the dialogue in the New American Media social media universe? Because you're relatively new to it. I'm curious to get your thoughts.
Oh yeah, of course. It really is a safe haven for, people that have an alternative view, which is funny to me that it's like considered that we have an alternative view when really, we've just seen things that don't make sense and are the ones to question it. And, if you question those things on just your regular Facebook page, the amount of attack you get sometimes is insane. So that being said, I like the forum. It's a nice place to go. But I will say that you just said something that caught my attention. You said that you were very anti-Hillary. But I used to get very confused by your posts because
oh yeah, of course. You called me out many times.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, are you for or against? I mean, I totally understand that, but if anything, that it was a good non-biased approach to take to just get people talking.
Right.
Because I feel like too many publications and what we're seeing with the mainstream media is picking one side and going off about that one side and not really coming at things from the middle. And something that I've realized is we do have a divide in our country right now, but for the most part, now that numbers are coming out and people are actually talking and admitting, I have had my inbox blowing up all day with people telling me, oh, I never said it, I never said anything to you, but I've been looking at your posts and reading and, thanks for speaking the truth. And, I'm like, hey, you can do it too. You just need to just inform yourself. And even if you're not sure what you think about something, put it out there and see what other people think. But just put yourself out there. Don't be a sheep, I guess.
Yeah, you can walk a little taller. I mean, but you have CEOs of companies like Grubhub, basically send out a memo to everybody saying that if you agree with Trump, then you should go find work elsewhere. And this mentality, this bully tactic of the left, whether it's the stuff that was caught on the Project Veritas tapes, where the DNC operatives are going in what they call bird dogging. They're bussing in violent people to go be violent and to blame the story and turn it around and make it like, oh, the angry Trump supporters at their rally attacked this poor minority, and they're laughing about paying crazy people. And you look at what's really behind this and the media that's propped them up, and you go, this is a monstrous, demonic agenda that doesn't give a damn about humanity, and they're exploiting the worst in people. They're actually coming up with bad things for people to do to other people just to gain power, control, and dominance over stuff. And for me, I think that just became so apparent on every single level this election. It was gratifying to open up the curtain and see the Wizard of Oz for once.
Yep. Oh my God. I couldn't have said that any more eloquently. Of course, I would have said it slightly more in the realm of truth. Truth is being uncovered right now. And I'd call myself I guess a spiritual person, definitely. But throughout this, so my time living in Hollywood, I worked in the entertainment industry for about 10 years. I was actually Sarah Silverman's stand-in and photo double. And
that's a very specific job, by the way. That is a very specific job.
It is. It was, yeah, but it was working within the entertainment industry where I started to really wake up and see the agendas and really, more than anything, feel the energy. I would get to set in the morning, and it's just an energy that is kind of exciting, but also kind of dark. And I don't mean this for every single set I've ever been on, but just these specific times where I felt the darkness. And I mean, let's face it, comedy has a lot of darkness in it. You take something that's dark and you make it funny. But I just remember going to set one day, and I get my sides. That's your little scripting that you get in the morning, and it has, the whole map of what you guys are going to be shooting that day. And I remember reading through, and of course, without tone of voice and inflection, you read something just on paper, just like you read something in an article online, and you give it your own meaning. So much like what people have been doing to Trump is, you hear him say something on a video, and the way he says it and the energy behind it is far different than when you see it in an article where they're trying to bash him and make him look bad. And of course, the words, when you're in acting class, we do these exercises where you repeat the same line over and over again, and you say it like 50 different ways, and you put your emotion behind it. And people aren't realizing that exists, in politics, and that's how they use That's what they use against these people. Back to what I was saying about Sarah Silverman's show. I know I'm jumping around a lot. My brain is just like scrambled from the past 48 hours.
Welcome to the club. You should have heard the conversation I had with John B. Wells a few minutes ago. And you will. You can listen after. All of my chats, they are the most scatterbrained. What did John...
That's okay.
John
That's
always
okay.
used to say that it was the shotgun out the back door approach. You just, 100 little pellets go in every direction, and hopefully you come back.
I always say that. I say, life is like a dartboard. You just throw all the darts, and the ones that stick. And but anyway, before I forget this, so I was on set, and I got my sides for the morning, and I opened it up, and they're doing a skit on the show about 9/11. Two guys are dressed up, as like the towers, and another guy is dressed up like an airplane. I don't know if anybody listening to this saw that episode, but I remember being like, this is fucked up. Oh wait, can I say that? Being like, this is I don't know, I didn't feel right about it. And I know her show was very controversial, but I never really felt like I fit in, like I did, but I didn't. And on set, I would always be reading books, and I had books on chakras and books on quantum physics. And here I was just the stand-in. I was just Sarah's shadow, but her sister used to kind of like make fun of me and mock me and be like, oh, what are you reading, that hippy dippy crap? And I'm like, yeah, like, why don't you, pick up a book and quit talking about poop for once? Because, that's what they do in comedy, especially on that show. A lot of poop jokes, but anyway, that's where I just really started seeing, the industry, and nothing is all bad, and but it put a weird taste in my mouth, and that's when I started just analyzing TV and media more and feeling certain energies when I was on set. I did a lot of like background work and extra work, and nothing huge, but I worked on a lot of like the CSI New York, CSI LA, and it was just seeing there is an energy that you're playing with. Even though you're watching TV, even though you're like, oh, it's not real, the people that are there, that are on the set, that are creating those scenarios, that is real for that time. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, they speak it into existence. They create it, if only in your mind. Of course.
Exactly. And so people, I think, for the first time, so I worked in entertainment for about 10 years, and I have actually not had cable TV. I don't even have Netflix. I have Apple TV, and I use it. Actually, the only thing I've watched was the 3 debates in the past few months. And I watched a lot of YouTube stuff I like watching it on a big screen. And I like picking and choosing what I decide goes into my brain and into my psyche. I'm not just mindlessly flipping through channels. And what we are seeing right now is the reveal of the manipulation of television with humanity. I recently learned, actually, watching a video from Anonymous, and they were saying that you're literally being programmed. Like when you see a young child and their brain is still fresh and new, and they've got all this stimulus coming at them, and they're learning so much, and you sit a kid down in front of the TV, and they sit there kind of with their mouth halfway open, staring as if they're in a trance. Their brain is literally being programmed. The TV flashes, but it flashes so quick that the human eye can't see. But this flashing interacts with the alpha and beta waves in your brain, and you are literally just downloading what it is you're seeing. And even though, you might be watching a murder show, and okay, you're not going to go out there and be a murderer, but you are still having a stimulus affect your brain in a certain way that might not affect you to, go out and murder someone, but it might make you a less empathetic person, or it might make you subconsciously have negative views on people that don't look a certain way. We have been socially engineered through the television, and it was working in television that made me really see it. And on the flip side, I think that there are a lot of positive shows, and I think that a lot of that hasn't been on TV for a while. It's all chaos. I mean, I remember I used to live in Silver Lake, and I had a really big townhouse when I was working on the Sarah Silverman show, and I thought my life was peachy keen and awesome. And there was a billboard across the street, and I remember seeing the billboard, and it was around Halloween time, and it was like this killer clown. And I'm like, God, when is that billboard going to go away? I'm sick of looking at it. Sure enough, weeks later, some other billboard goes up there, and it was like billboard after billboard. And I'm like, isn't Halloween season done yet? I'm just tired of seeing, blood dripping off of a knife or whatever, pretty much right out my window. Well, I realized it was December. And I realized something was wrong. I was like, that's not normal. And then I realized that these movies were coming out year round. There was no Halloween scary movie season. It's 365 days a year, always. And I'm sorry, but when you and I were kids, I don't believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really remember that. I remember there was sort of a specific time where we would see a lot of scary movies come out, and then they would, go away. But, I really started seeing Satanism, underlying Satanism and occult related things in our media. And I mean, after these lovely Podesta emails with, talking about child sex trafficking and code words for, what is it? What is it? Young. I mean, it's like we make fun of it now in this conversation, but I'm like, oh my God, like this is like really bad.
If I even had to go back and do the research so that I could articulately speak about exactly what all the code words mean when you gave it the Ovaltine, was it from the Christmas Story where he goes through the whole thing to decode it and it says, remember to drink your Ovaltine.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through the Podesta emails talking about pizza parties and what means little boy, what means little girl, and all, because it is sickening. There's nothing that's more sickening than violating a small human being that way. It really is just about the worst. And when you start seeing that these people are even connected with it, it reaches a level where it's not surprising anymore. And you say, this really does kind of feel like an ultimate battle between good and evil. And I don't know if I'm going to mentally paint angel wings on Mr. Donald Trump. That would be ridiculous. But I sure feel like I see some devil horns on these other cats. Like, Hillary is a monster in so many respects of the word. She embodies everything that's wrong with Washington. Everything that's wrong with this world, the wars, what she did to Ambassador Stevens with Obama to try to stir things up, to fight a proxy war with Russia in Syria. Are you out of your minds? You're playing video games. They're playing board games of Risk with human beings. If that's not monstrous and demonic, I really don't know what is. So if electing Trump was just stopping some of that, I'm okay with it. I'm really okay with it. In fact, I'm ecstatic about it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you just said, basically good versus evil. And I really do think that's what's going on. And I mean, as someone who got really into sort of the spiritual part of LA, there's a lot of, veganism is very popular here. People are very conscious here in LA in a certain regard. And actually with those people, it's interesting because those are some of the friends I've had the worst time with in the past few days. Because there's sort of this stigma of if you're super spiritual, don't vote with your dollar. I meditate and I create my own reality and I'm not going to pay attention to anything that's going on. I'm basically above this. And that has really rubbed me the wrong way because at the end of the day, if you have a driver's license, a credit card, money in your pocket, and a working toilet, you're part of this system and you need to care. Because if you truly are as hippie as you are and you believe in what they call a collective conscious, we are the collective conscious, and we've forgotten in LA about middle America. We've been so high on our hippie horse that we've forgotten how completely destroyed Middle America is. And I will say, I didn't even know. And it's taken this election
Wow.
for me to see that and understand that that's why
Interesting.
California is brainwashed by the entertainment industry or by, all the comments about immigration and us being so close to Mexico right now. I can see how those people are hurting or scared right now. I completely understand. And that's the thing is they don't think that we don't understand when we do. And I don't think it's going to be how they think it's going to be. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But back to what I was saying.
But it's all interconnected, and it's okay. I get where you're going with that. Anyway.
So with this whole spiritual movement, it's like I've had friends that have what they call awareness accounts on Instagram. They have 40,000, 50, 60,000 followers on there, and they're posting memes left and right. And the majority of what they post is spot on. But then I started seeing, a lot of bashing both candidates and just don't vote and your vote doesn't matter anyway and empower yourself. And I'm thinking to myself, how can you talk about empowering when you're telling people basically to give their power away to everyone else who is going to vote, which is the majority? And if we are the collective conscious, we need to keep that into consideration. And we need to realize that we need to unite with the middle of the United States. That's what's going on. We've got New York over here, and they're all into their art and their fashion. And then we've got LA over here, and they're so freaking into themselves in Hollywood. Let me tell you, having the opinions that I have after having worked in Hollywood this has been the most gratifying thing ever, because I just could never understand why the people I would see getting the roles just seemed so vacant to me. Meanwhile, I couldn't seem to really catch a break until I realized I wasn't chosen for that. I was chosen for this movement right now. And this movement that's happening right now, it's go time for a lot of us who have, tried to have a voice in either media or entertainment. And that's the thing is, mainstream media, bye. You're dead.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia.
The voice just went back to the people. And no matter what side you're on, left, right, whatever, protesting, upset, crying, at the end of the day, our voices for the first time ever are being heard. And why? Because we're listening to each other. And we are on Facebook and we are messaging each other. And yes, there's some arguing going on, but there's also just a lot of communication going on.
And I thanked somebody today. I said I sent him a message. I said, hey, thank you for the mostly, how did I phrase it? Thank you for the mostly civil debate and conversations we've been having over the past few weeks. And I meant that mostly civil, because sometimes he's a jerk and sometimes he probably thinks I am, and that's fine. But, brothers and sisters on this planet, you're supposed to get along. You don't have to love each other. You don't have to do what the other person's doing. But if what they're doing isn't really harming anything, or if it's not harming you specifically, there's a decent chance that we're more alike than we are different. And
yes. No, listen, everybody really wants the same things at the end of the day, and that's what people don't realize. We are all human. We all have basic needs. We love our families. We are all the same. The only people that are not the same are these people that are the global elite that could control humanity forever. And I've been talking about the damn New World Order on my Facebook, left, right, upside down, for like 10 years now. And I was a crazy conspiracy theorist forever. But I just, in my heart of hearts, was like, stay true to the truth. And, you'll have your chance one day to speak it and have people listen and influence. And that's why you and I are having a conversation right now,
And you know what? Exactly. And if you go back to someone like Edward Snowden, I've been listening to Coast and studying this next level stuff for decades. Like, you don't just, I get it. I get that if you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of information to work your way up from zero to quantum physics. I get that there's a big difference between the Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead, which, by the way, I like to say the Cavs earned a historic victory. I don't like to talk about the other team losing because I think we earned it. But there's only so much amount of your time that should be devoted to professional sports like me. And then going over to New World Order and thinking about this system and everything being manipulated, everything in front of you being a lie, all of these systems and things that we've grown up on as being legit, and that's just the way it is. Well, it doesn't have to be like that. And this country has seen, we've gone through some ridiculously dark times. We went through a damn civil war. There were different colors of people that used to own other people. I get it. But you know what we saw with this Trump election? A lot of it was middle America with a middle finger saying, hey, I get that bad shit happened a couple of centuries ago. Guess what? I wasn't alive for it. We're all here today, and you could work just as hard as I'm working, and we can all thrive together. Stop pointing your finger at me and telling me I'm a bad person. And now, I'll tell you what, I felt that, Nicole, when I ran for student government president at my college in Ohio, a very important swing state. And I just got really sick and tired of being lectured to about how bad I was. I mean, I fit all the boxes for serial killer. What was I? The worst pedophile serial killer, like the worst human being on the planet. When I was in college, it was like, oh, you're white. Yeah, I always have been. Is that a problem? Oh, you're a male. Yeah, last time I checked. Oh, you're a Christian. Okay, now you're telling me about me. Why is that any of your business? And for all of these years, just being told that all of these things are making me lesser. Trying to belittle one side to bring the other side up a little bit, and it's like that's not how this is supposed to work. And in a place that's supposed to be a meritocracy, where we all have an opportunity to make something out of our lives, and if you choose not to, and if you're going to make 100 bad decisions, and it finally gets you in the end, that's on you. That's not on me. I talked about self-defense with my friend the other day, and she was saying, oh no, I could never have a gun or something, or I could never take a life. And I'm like, if you end up in a fight with someone in your baseball bat, you've already lost. Like, no, that's not a good plan. And no, I could never take a life. And my response was, no, you got to understand, if you're ever painted into a corner in a horrible situation where that's literally the thing that you need to do to survive it, they did that to themselves. You didn't do that to anyone. They did that to themselves. And, just watching Hillary not get her crown, to not get her kingdom, was so immensely satisfying. I know I'm not supposed to gloat. I know I'm not supposed to take pleasure in that. But I got to tell you, I really think this I really think this poorly of the Clinton crime family and the people that have been steering us off a cliff for decades now, that it was very satisfying to see their plan get rejected at the ballot box. I can say that much.
I'm going to have to say that I can't disagree with a single word that you just said. Intuition is a powerful thing, and I've been guided by my own intuition a lot in the past 6 months, year. I guess for a while, and my intuition isn't always right. But I will say though that when I do approach things from like a pure place, my intuition tends to more often than not be correct. There was actually a video of Trump where he was giving a speech, and a woman in the audience who was a veteran asked him if he was hiring at the hotel, and he brought her up to the front of the stage and basically gave her a job interview right that moment and said, go talk to these guys and talk salary. And it's a cool video. It's one of those feel-good moments that you're like, oh my gosh, that just looks like something out of a movie. And it was a black female veteran, so there's all this talk, oh, he's sexist, oh, he's racist. I'm like, he just pulled a random woman out of the crowd and basically gave her a job interview in front of everyone and offered her a job.
Tell me then as a woman, address that concern. It's been hurled. And some of it you just go, look, I can't defend this guy. I might vote for him, but I'm not going to defend him every time he says something stupid or does something stupid. And there are a couple of accusations out there. So
sorry, but we're going to hold him accountable, and that's actually a hashtag that I've started using. In my pro-Trump posts, my hashtag is also hashtag hold him accountable, because he's going to have a lot of angry people, and it's not just him, it's his cabinet and the people behind him. And I would like to talk about that in a second.
Okay. Hey, let's talk about him in a second, but make sure you tag us at American_media_, and we'll send it to our 17,000 people when you do hashtag hold him accountable. I like that. We interviewed a guy in Cleveland,
I
and
really
he said
that should be a big Trump hashtag. We have already had Trump 2016 is over. Okay. Not my president. That hopefully will surely blow over. But yeah, I think that we need to hashtag hold him accountable. I mean, he uses social media, or he at least goes on there and checks. I really don't know if Clinton Hillary actually really goes on her Twitter or what. But yeah, it's up to us to hold him accountable. So if he's saying dumb shit, then we need to be like, yo, you're saying dumb shit. So, and listen, there's more of us than them. And at the end of the day, he's got the military backing him up. We've never seen anything like that. We've never seen all of these, police agencies coming out and endorsing him.
The left wing has turned this into a war on rule of law, a war on police. Every time someone gets shot, and the person that's shot is black, and if there's an officer involved, and sometimes that officer's even white, every single time that happens, Barack Obama and Valerie Jarrett and Eric Holder, go down the list of people, they've been turning this and trying to stir up a civil war, a racial war, some sort of disgusting thing in this country every opportunity they get. I mean, that's not how people are. And to constantly be accused of being a misogynist because you don't like Hillary, you go, no, she is terrible. I was never Clinton, never Bush. This entire election season, go back through the archives, you'll hear 2 years ago, never Bush, never Clinton. Same exact thing. I just don't want to see oligarchs in my White House anymore. I don't trust them. I'm over it. No woman, no man, no ruling family. I'm sorry. I'm done. There are not kings and queens in America. There are people that are elected for a short amount of time and then bye, Felicia. It's time for something else. You don't let them stay long enough to accumulate so much power that they become dangerous as hell. That is the Clinton crime family in a nutshell. So for me, it was that easy as vote against that every time I can. And I was undecided for Trump. I did not decide to vote for him until the last week. And really, there was probably a vote against Hillary more than it was for Trump. But I'll tell you what, he's the captain of the ship, he's the pilot of the plane, and we're all on it together. I keep saying that because I heard it somewhere, and I'd love to attribute it to wherever I heard it first. It was a day or two ago, but I forget where I picked it up. But we're all on the same plane together. If we're rooting for it to crash, this is not going to be good for any of us that are on the plane. So let's think this through, and we have an opportunity to unite. I hoped Obama would have done that. I didn't vote for him, but I hoped that he would have done that. And I'll tell you what, I've been so disappointed in all of the race baiting and all of the stuff he's been stirring up socially to gain political power, to do something so mean that has literally cost so many police officer lives. So it's a wave of hate, and I'm thrilled that it got stopped in its tracks for once.
Well, let's really hope so, because, right before you called me, by the way, is this going live, or, can I link people to this current conversation?
Yes, you absolutely.
I just had someone tell me no live feed, but
it should be going out for sure. But hey, you witnessed all the gremlins that we had when we tried to originally do a show. We're going to have you on with John as well. But hey, you know what? It was intended for something else. I just got to trust that there was a reason for that. But yes, it should theoretically be going out. Absolutely.
Okay. I was going to say, it's probably good there's not three of us trying to talk right now, because there's just so much to be told.
That is true.
What were we talking about earlier? So I talked about the entertainment industry.
Well, you wanted to talk about the cabinet. You wanted to talk about Trump's cabinet. I don't know if you wanted to.
Okay. I was just reading about how he had his recent visit at the White House with Obama, where they met face to face for the very first time after talking a lot of crap.
What do you think? What do you think? And don't forget. Here's I would have loved to be a fly on the wall. I would have loved to be there for that conversation.
Well, here's the thing. Hang on now. I've got people messaging me. Sorry about that. I just recently saw an article, or right now before you called me, that was saying that no, he is not going to repeal Obamacare. And already, I was like, okay, we need to investigate this. And I was just barely starting to read the article when you called, but basically that, I guess he was saying something on the lines of keeping Obamacare but amending it. And I'm like,
so what he's been
already my alarm bells are going off. I'm like, let's see how this goes.
Well, I had somebody, a buddy, Justin, he sent a message. He's like, well, I bet you this guy's the biggest troll of all time. He said whatever it took to get in, now he's not going to do some of these things. He's not going to do this. What I heard, it was that he was saying he wants to keep the provision where you can stay on your parents' plan until you're 25, that you can't be denied for a pre-existing condition. But what he wants to do is open up every company to compete in every single market in every single state at the same time to drastically reduce prices and give an incentive to all of the health insurance companies to operate at a lower profit margin so that there's competition. So it's maybe taking a few nice components out of healthcare and saying, all right, well, maybe remove the individual mandate so you can't get penalized for not having it, regardless of what Justice Roberts did at the 11th hour. I think underneath the auspices of blackmail, mind you, but maybe that's what you got to do. If you're Trump, you're going to come in and just do a couple of things or take a couple of spins a couple of different ways and say, look, I don't need to expend all of my political capital on these issues yet. I'll offer an olive branch and not go as far as I want to. Make it a negotiation. Like, I'll start doing this, and maybe I'll finish, but I think I'm going to end it here now if you're okay with that. But I might pick it again. You know what? I just trust that a guy. Look, we just elected a boss. Someone that's a libertarian like me, we don't want anyone to be our ruler. We don't want anyone to tell us what to do. We're grown adults, and if we're not harming somebody else, let me do what the hell I want, as long as I'm not harming somebody else. But if you're going to bring it up and think about America as a company and a country, the way that you think of any company that's well run, you just say, hey, who knows about cutting big deals and thinking big? Let's roll the damn dice and see what this builder can build. Let's see.
Thank you. You just said exactly what I've been trying to get people to see. And that's he's a builder. He might not build it with his own two hands, but I'm sorry. You look at any skyscraper and you feel pretty small standing next to that.
And can I tell you, right where I'm at?
It's powerful. And guess who built these skyscrapers that, lie in the sky in New York? The people. He had to be the one to figure out how to create a company where he can get a bunch of people together, get a bunch of construction workers, get a bunch of, people that, just electricians. Think about how much is involved, how much skill is involved, and how many people you need to hire to build a freaking skyscraper. I'm sorry, but I don't think a lot of people can do that. And he didn't do it just once, didn't do it just twice. He has properties all over the world.
Yeah, but Nicole, hold on. He's had hundreds of companies, but a couple of them went bankrupt a couple of times. See, a couple of the things he didn't work out right. See, that's literally the counter argument.
Yeah.
That's the best that the flip side of that has. Or, no, he wouldn't pay his workers. He stiffed his workers. Okay, do you know this whole story? Do you know that you don't have to pay? I just did a job with I won't bore you, but I just did a job. Hired a company. They didn't do the job right. They haven't been paid. It needs to be remedied. We're working out the details. And it's like, if these are the biggest counterpoints that these people have. It's not a compelling argument to tell me why we shouldn't give the guy a chance. And you're right, you feel very small when you're in Manhattan. I distinctly remember that. And where I'm at now, they're building multiple levels. It's this big half-block wide building project. I go past it, damn near every single day. And it's nice when you watch things get built and layer after layer, floor after floor, and massive machinery and the big crane moving. And you got hundreds of people all over doing specialized jobs. And you go, God, if somebody could just organize our country to know what the hell it's doing. Maybe a builder that can organize a huge project and hire the right people and hold the right people accountable and say, hey, I want to hire the best person that's always coming in before the time frame that they give me and under budget that they gave me. I want people that know how to manage a crew and avoid mistakes. Okay, you hire those people and you keep them accountable. That's why he had a hit television show for how many years saying you're hired, you're fired. And that...
Right? Okay, like, I was on the Trump train at day one because I thought, is this just a publicity stunt? Like, for real? I was like, wait a second. But I wasn't opposed to it. And I was like, okay, let's see what this guy has to say. And I already know, of course, I'm already aware of the global elite and the real truth behind our government, the way it's been for a long time. So it was very refreshing to see that and raised a lot of questions and curiosity. And that's the thing, is I was curious the whole time. I was like, okay, now we're talking something different, and here's a man who has a bit of a legacy globally and has worked in TV and has done, you can find a lot of hilarious clips of him. I can relate to him as being someone who I worked in the entertainment industry for a little while, and I did some modeling, and I did, I can really relate to him. And speaking of modeling, I wish I said something sooner, but I didn't want to get backlash, and I didn't meet him personally, so I didn't feel like I should make a big deal about it at the time. But I was actually with a modeling agency called Chase Models. They were located in Newport Beach. I was like 19, 20 years old, and we ended up doing a beauty pageant at the Trump 29 casino, and this was back in 2001. And when I heard of all these pageant girls, coming out talking about, oh, this and that, and oh, he came in the dressing room, I was like, what? I was like, no, there were like all the guys in suits, which I'm sure he was one of them, and I didn't pay much attention. And anyways, the whole weekend we were treated so well. We even got put up in another hotel, not at his casino. We ended up staying in the Miramonte, which is really, really lovely out in Palm Desert. And I had a great vacation weekend. Everything was paid for. I didn't have to worry about anything. It was fantastic. And I had photos that ended up going into some magazine or something in New York, and they said, hey, if your photos get used, you're going to be sent a check. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right. Well, I got a check in the mail. It was like $500 for, some photos from the pageant. And I was like, that's really cool. So hearing just so much slandering, I was like, maybe I didn't have one-on-one experience with him directly, but I had experience with something that he had his hand in and he had his name on. And it was fine, and it was great. And it's actually something that I still to this day think, I need a vacation. I need to go to the Miramonte for a weekend.
Well, let me tell you my experience with Trump, which is maybe why I was a little bit more apprehensive. It was one of those multi-level pyramid marketing things. It was called ACN. It was a friend of a friend that said, hey, on the outskirts of L.A., Anaheim, let's go to this convention center thing. And it was Donald Trump. It was ACN. He wasn't there, but it was this whole sales pitch to buy these machines. They were like video phones. This was like a decade ago. And it was a dude hawking multi-level pyramid-themed, joining one of these teams where you got to sell everything to your friends. And I looked at the product and I didn't like it, and I looked at the people that were there and they were sad and desperate, and I just thought about how these things usually play out, and I don't like to talk to people that are in those things much because they're always trying to sell me things. It's just not my cup of tea. And that was kind of I never really even, I will say I loved reading The Art of the Deal. I thought it was fantastic. I really liked The Art of the Deal. But I never really even watched the show. I did check out Bill Rancic. I think he's the guy that won it the first year. Someone gave me as a gift like an audio, like a book on tape or something, and it was him talking about winning The Apprentice or whatever. And I found that to be fascinating. I actually really recommend it. But yeah, it was just that whole, selling steaks and selling vodka and selling, pyramid schemes. It's like, man, maybe this is a guy that builds big things on big promises and goes belly up like he did in Florida. Maybe he does bite off more than he can chew. Maybe he is a snake oil salesman. Maybe he is a con artist. All the signs are there. He's a narcissist. He has unlimited resources. He's been through 17 wives. This is normally a guy.
17 wives.
Well, 18. I'm sorry. I forgot what's her face.
Gosh. Hey, wait, real quickly. What is the link that I can post up here? I've got a couple people messaging.
I will text.
You want to go ahead and send it through?
I will text.
My phone is dead. Facebook, maybe? Is that possible?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. So talk about, while I do that, why don't you talk about all the concerns and things I just listed off where I would obviously have a little bit of concern and pause, especially when you can see some temperamental tendencies with some wild swings, and you go, okay, red button, I don't know about this guy. That doesn't make any sense.
Let me ask you, when was that? How long ago was that?
Yeah, there was time in between.
Like how much? I'm just curious.
Oh, wait. When I went through the pyramid scheme? Yeah, that was like 10 years ago, yeah. He was a different guy. He was also in Home Alone. He helped Kevin in New York when he was lost. I get it. The guy has fun. He dressed up in drag before decades before the White House got lit up in rainbow colors. Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump was dressing in drag on Saturday Night Live. Like he's poked fun at himself and he's in the World Wrestling Federation Hall of Fame.
Did you see that clip? That was a great clip of him.
Oh, they're all great. He likes to clown around, and I get it. What I saw out of him, out of his temperament and tone when he was in the White House. Hopefully, it hit him. When I saw him speak at his rally to accept the presidency, the congratulatory speech, the tone and tenor were okay. And then you see a couple tweets come out, and you go, all right, well, if he's going to dance around there, dance safely. And then keep working your way back to center and straight on. But dance safely. I don't want to see it go too far. But, yeah, it was a while ago. But I just don't like those pyramid schemes. Maybe that's just me. But
oh, no, totally. But then again, that's also a testament of those times. That's kind of the business model that was happening during that time. It was kind of the thing. I don't think it was necessarily... who knows? Yeah, maybe it was a bunch of people just trying to make as much money as possible. Everything in life is. But I do remember that there was a time when that was the thing. Now it's let's see, what are people doing now? There's always going to be that sort of business model. And obviously it didn't work for him. And, he's stuck to hotels. Hotels has worked for him, and like we were saying, he's stuck to what he's really good at, which is building. And for me, that's, I don't think he's going to be trying to sell vodka to the country. Maybe I would drink it. But, the funny thing is about that I found interesting is that he doesn't even drink. His brother Fred, did you know this?
That's right. He's an alcoholic. He died real early or something.
His brother Fred was an alcoholic, died when he was very young, and Trump decided that he just was going to stay away from it. And that was an interesting bit of information to hear. And not only that, but a bunch of photographs in a collage popped up on social media of Hillary Clinton partying her butt off. holding beer, different glasses, looking trashed. And I just was like, people talk about, oh, he's not presidential. I'm like, he's pretty freaking, he kind of looks pretty presidential to me. His whole family is very polished, in suits all the time. I mean, they really, to me, in my head, what I would think a first family would look like.
You're very right about that. Very proper, very well kept, very in line, very respectful. The kids have turned out all right, and that's usually a good sign.
And of course, you look at people can go ahead and talk about Melania's modeling career, and she's in a bikini, and someone actually posted something yesterday where she said that she was really excited that we have a hot first lady, and that she's an immigrant, and that she speaks 5 languages. And it's like the exact opposite of everything that the mainstream media has condemning him for, is that, being against immigrants and, being sexist. And here I don't even know.
Yeah,
it's kind of ironic.
It is. And you know what? We're here now. There's no other way to... Actually, you know what? I have heard people saying that the Electoral College should change their minds in about a month. They don't have to vote till December 21st. It's very curious. Who is the Electoral College? Can you help me research that, Nicole?
I've been trying to figure that out, too. And I've really been wondering, there's still a part of me that's extremely skeptical of all this. All my spiritual hippie friends that are like, don't vote for anyone because they're all the same. And, and I'm like, probably, who knows? Maybe there's some huge ploy. I mean, was it Michigan who just said that that the Electoral College is going to go Democrat despite the popular vote in their state? Did you see that? Because that just came out recently.
Yeah, just thinking about the whole election in general, all of the things that could have been tweaked. Do you really have faith in the system? Do you really think it was this close?
Oh, hell no. I'm sorry, no. With voters that are dead, that are over 110 years old, that are absentee voting, no. Another rumor on the mill was that someone found a bunch of boxes filled with ballots in a warehouse. And that's the thing is we can never really be sure what's real, if you're reading it on the internet and not actually seeing a video of something.
But they were so paid off. They were so propped up. Of course it was rigged in their favor, and they still couldn't hide it. Like, that's a pretty powerful movement when everything in the world is going against you and you still pull it off. That's Herculean. That really is like the hero story, against all odds. What can I say?
Yep, that's what I've been saying, is all these people have been arguing, saying, oh, she won popular vote. I'm like, no, she didn't win popular vote, because if you were actually paying attention to things that, people like me post on Facebook, which is undercover tapes of an operative at the DNC catching someone on tape talking about how they've been rigging the system for years, for decades, and people still don't want to believe it. And that is the part I have the hardest time with, is the cognitive dissonance that people have. And I'm not exactly sure what makes one person have it and not the other. Some type of brainwashing, but just the fact that there are people who you can literally show them practically a bloody body and they still won't care.
Well, hold on. Donald Trump did say I could shoot somebody in the middle of Times Square and my poll numbers would stay the same. He did say that, and that's a little hyperbolic. That's a little out there. That's, the rhetoric. It might be a joke, but there's...
Wait. Who's he shooting? If he's shooting someone that possibly might need to get shot, in self-defense.
Right.
It's all context, I'm sorry, but let's just count the Clinton body bag here for a moment.
Yeah, I'm good. I really hope that Chelsea and the rest of them, I hope we don't hear from them again. What would you do if you're the president now? And I've said this about political capital. You get $1 and it's all in coins. And I can relate to this, at least maybe on a small level, being on like maybe a board of directors or something where there's 5 of you, a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and a member at large. And you have to work within the group and all the differences among you. You only have $1 in coins to spend. When you put everything you have on the table to really push for something, and you put a quarter in, and then you put 30 cents in, 37 cents, 51 cents, you're really painting yourself into a corner on any of the other 100 things about to come up here. It's about how aggressive you're going to bet your poker game. So is it possible that Donald Trump is not going to go after prosecuting Hillary Clinton in the beginning, but leave it dangling there as a threat and kind of play with it a little bit to get some traction, but always use it as a threat with the left hand if he doesn't get what he wants with the right hand? Or do you think he goes after her, or do you think he just bails altogether and says, Hillary, I'm not going to go after you. I know what it takes to do this job.
I've been asking myself the same questions, and I feel like those answers would reveal even more truth of how much power would the person in his position actually really have. I was watching something earlier, and I think it was, hang on a second.
Yes, while you do the search, is there anywhere where people should stay connected with you? Do you have a blog? Do you have a website? Do you have a show? Where do people follow you?
I'm working on it, and where I've been most vocal about my opinion and things has really just been Facebook. Right. I do have my Facebook page open though, which has been interesting, but I really said to myself, just keep it public, and you'll be able to reach people and connect with people, and I really have.
Which has been interesting.
Which has been real interesting, and I've been meaning to start a blog or this or that, but I mean, if you think about it, I'm already on Facebook, so it's
the same damn thing. Why be redundant on other media platforms? This is what they built for. Anyway. This is the platform they built for us to communicate on a two-way street. So let's use it against them. let's use it against them. It's their tool.
And it's really funny. Right before you called me, I opened my Facebook and it said, "Happy, Faceanniversary." And I was like, "What's this?" And they make those little videos where they sort of do a collage, or slideshow of all the years. Today is my 9-year anniversary on Facebook. And I thought that's really, really interesting because Facebook has been my platform, and it's 11/11, and in the spiritual world, numerology and numbers, which I think people should become more familiar with, because it will bring a whole other element into what is going on in this matrix that we are in, or whatever you want to call it. But
100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah. And today's Veterans Day as well. And I released a music album on 11/11/11 years ago, and I've just been very keen on the whole 11/11. So today is a very powerful day energetically, and a lot of what's going on in the world, I think, is it's not a coincidence to me that today is 11/11, and this is the type of thing that's going on. The entire world is talking about the same freaking thing right now, which no matter what side you're on, it's kind of cool.
It's
actually kind of uniting. You know what I mean? In some really weird, fucked up way.
It is very uniting.
I'm trying to see the positive and be this is the first time that literally everyone on the planet, I'm sure, maybe not everyone, but a vast majority of people on the planet are giving their energy and their attention to what is happening right now, and that's.
And what if the attention that we give is to say, hey, if this means that we don't have to escalate a war in Syria with ISIS in Russia, in China, hey, maybe we could all just calm down and go home for a little bit now. Can we, like you pointed out that I said earlier, Can we rebuild this area a little bit? You want a safe zone? Let Trump build it. You got nothing but nothing over there. Design some walls, get some security. Design a safe zone where you can help rebuild your own country from here. Maybe do some of that. It's just when you think about the origins of ISIS and the plan that they've been going down for this long, and the generals and admirals that have been silenced and shut up, and the people, I mean, God, James Comey, I don't know what the heck. Very interesting to see how his career plays out over the next decade. James Comey,
These people just need to, like, take whatever money they've got, be fine with however much, hundreds of millions or, however much money these people have, which is far more than the average person, and just go live out the rest of your world on a forever tropical vacation. I mean, like, Hillary, pack your whole family up, get your grandbabies or whatever, and seriously, just go somewhere and just enjoy the rest of your life. Her health isn't good. We know it. She knows it. They know it. Just, like, relax. Like...
Yeah, it's a stand-down order being given.
Like,
stand down. Lady, enough. You ain't going to be president. Sorry, you're not going to crack that glass ceiling. Sorry.
Let me ask you your opinion, though, on...
Yes, please do.
What's your opinion on David Icke? If you know...
Interesting guy. I haven't spent as much time researching his work as many of the others. He's an interesting guy. He nails a lot of things, and he has a lot of other topics and conversation threads that I check out of a little bit, and I not really ready to finish going there. But when you say David Icke, are you talking about that this is all how far in Icke do you go? Do you go down to the lizard people thing?
That is exactly what I wanted to bring up right now. So there's a really great video on YouTube called Hidden Human History, and it is by Spirit Science, a channel called Spirit Science. And they're really clever in the way that they do their videos. They do them in a cartoon format. And the cartoons have, kind of funny voices. And anyway, it's like an animated story of potential hidden human history. And they leave it up for you to decide what you think. But I like that they use these animated characters instead of, people sitting there talking. Like, we love Ancient Aliens. We like, what's his name?
Giorgio Tsoukalos?
Yes. Yeah, we love watching.
Hey, fun story about Giorgio. I was at the Conscious Life Expo a few years ago, and it was right when this was all starting to pop, all the Ancient Alien stuff that just fascinates me still to this day. I think if we're going to spend our time looking into things and researching, like, how about who are we? How did we get here? What's the purpose? And what happens when we're done from here? I'd love to answer those things and stop being distracted over hating my neighbor who I love. Like, that would be a lot cooler. But anyway...
answered the question of exactly why everything is happening right now. That's exactly why this is all happening. There's no coincidence that this is all happening on 11/11, and of course the election wasn't on 11/11, but 11/8 was also a very powerful day. 8 is a very powerful number in numerology. They're smart. These secret societies, these numbers, they're no coincidence. And what I was just going to say about David Icke is I had a very, very strange interaction right around the time when I was first working on the Sarah Silverman program, and I was at the gym, and I would constantly, I don't know, I used to think I was like a baller. I would go and I'd shoot hoops, and I wasn't so bad. And I kind of befriended someone, and he was this black guy, and he had a ton of tattoos. He even had his face tattooed. I mean, he was a very interesting character, but we became friends. And, he gave me some tips on basketball, and we kind of started hanging out a little bit, and he actually had a Wu-Tang tattoo on his face. And he told me he used to, like, roll around with them. But he was the first person who ever asked me, hey, do you know what Freemasonry is? Do you know what the Illuminati is? And I'm like, no. And he was the first person who ever schooled me on basically everything that we're pretty much kind of seeing coming to the light right now. And he was in my life for a very short period of time, and it was very, very strange. I have no explanation for it, but then he like vanished. It was one of the strangest. It was one of the strangest things in my entire life.
This is great.
I mean,
he was
what?
okay. So it's possible he was put there. If you had let he or she, let she who has eyes to see. So if they could see past this person that, however this occurred, once that conversation starts, you've earned the right to have that conversation, and that person, they're done. Their job is completed. Next. Like, what a cool thing to think about, that this is like a video game and characters arrive at the perfect moment in the script when they're supposed to.
We even went and saw some movie. I forgot what movie it was, but he showed up wearing like this Morpheus red long coat. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy is either like completely insane or he scared me and intrigued me deeper than I've ever been intrigued by any other interaction with any other human being, that I do question myself, was it even a human being at this point? Because he vanished out of my life almost immediately after delivering what I would say was one of the biggest download dumps of information into my brain.
Yeah.
And back when I was only I think I was 23, I had just moved to LA. And then I look at everything I've been through in the past 10 years of working in the entertainment industry and sort of going through a period of waking up. And for the people that really know me, and, I actually have an ex-husband, and he's from Australia. And that brings me to the topic of immigration, too. I had to go through the entire immigration process with him, and it's not an easy process, but I'm sorry. How is it fair that he had to go through this process? Meanwhile, you can just walk across the border and set your life up and set up shop and, get all kinds of benefits. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, but back to what I was saying. What was I saying?
About the guy that jumped into your life. And I didn't finish my Giorgio Tsoukalos story, but finish yours and I'll come back to mine.
I was just going to say that, there were nights where I was almost losing my mind because I, would be up constantly late at night like a crackhead, reading about the Illuminati and, the reptilian agenda and, hidden human history and UFOs. And I still personally believe that there is something there, and we are just maybe really starting to uncover that. And, I don't know if you're aware of who Corey Goode is and the secret space program. I'm sure you are, obviously. But yeah, this is a galactic thing that we're seeing. This is a huge victory galactically. And I actually listen to a couple of channelers. I suggest a channeler by the name of Kryon, spelled Kryon. Sorry, I don't know how to mute this. The little ding's annoying.
Well, hey, you know what? If you're going to talk about weird technical glitches today, I got you beat. Don't worry about that.
No. Well, anyway, Kryon. Kryon is the name of an entity, an alien. I'm not exactly sure how you would describe it, but he is channeled. And did I just mute this? Yes, I did. Okay.
Good luck.
I'm trying to turn off the little ding noises from my Facebook page because it's like going off right now. But,
yeah, I know. I spent a little bit of time on the previous show talking about the weird tech glitches. We tried to do this show a very different way in a very different format. We messed around for about 45 minutes, an hour trying to get things to work, and we eventually settled on this format. But yeah, it just kind of helps you realize, though, whenever these things happen, when we're trying to work out the kinks, work out the bugs, figure out how to mute sounds. It is the internet that changed the course of human events. It's been go ahead.
I was just going to say about Kryon is he's an entity that's channeled, and you can listen to these channelings that he does, and he talks about basically the galactic opinion of humanity and our consciousness, and, you know, that there are entire galactic nations up there that have just been watching Earth with a microscope. And that, I mean, we've been so miseducated about our roots and what's really going on up there, and, you know, dimensions and dimensional beings and energies. And, you know, we are just so blind to what and who we really are at an ancient level. And government has been, I believe, at the top of keeping that under wraps and that knowledge hidden away. You know, that's why they're all Illuminati. You know, they have the secret knowledge. They're the illuminated ones. That's why it's the all-seeing eye on our dollar. You know, they know what's up. And, you know, there was a video on YouTube of Newt Gingrich talking about Trump. And he said he's not in the secret societies. He didn't go through the initiation rites. They don't know how to relate to him. He's an insider. Those were all direct quotes from him. And when I heard that, I really felt like it was probably genuine.
I know the quote, the phrase, the clip that you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, he definitely is somebody that was hated by the Republicans and the Democrats, which instantly gave him credibility with me.
Yeah, he just said, okay, I'll be the Democrat, you know? Like, I mean, realistically, the guy's 70 years old. He's got a lot of money. He's got a family. He really, what does he have really to gain? I mean, of course, ego and legacy, you know, but what's wrong with maybe wanting legacy? And, you know, in one of the Trump speeches that I recently rewatched, he said, he's like, I'm not even going to take any money to get paid. You know, they get paid a salary of $400,000 a year, which, you know, let's see how much Obama's actually walking away with. I'm sure he's walking away with a pretty penny, but you know,
like 10 or 20 million. I don't know. Last time I checked, he's got quite the Chicago and Hawaii compound. Let's see if he runs for head of the UN in a couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised or put it past him. I think he sees himself as a global president anyway, but I digress.
Well, I see him as possibly maybe not even human all the way. I see all of them as possibly maybe not even human, and that might be a little bit hard for people to wrap their minds around, you know, and I'm not exactly 100% sure what my opinion is because I haven't seen anything directly with my own two eyes yet. But
yeah, we've just gone next level for the people who are just tuning in. That was us going to grad school in the David Icke. No, that's okay. If people are here on this show at this network checking out what we talk about, man, these are the fun questions and the fun conversations to get into. These conversations, the ultimate 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Yeah. Who's really behind the scenes, you know? This is the good stuff. This is some of my favorite conversation. I'm not saying I buy all of it or any of it. I'm just saying I am just absolutely intrigued beyond belief about all this stuff, and I will step out of the comfort zone and imagine the what ifs. Okay, so what if these people were doing this for the reason of that because of this? Ooh, or what if those people... Okay, let's think. What if? I like just playing what if. It's that easy.
That's the thing is there's too many people that are deep in their programming in their minds from, you know, TV and media and propaganda left and right being spewed at us constantly, that being able to open up your perspective and consider that, yeah, this crazy stuff you see on TV, you know, we've got all these movies of aliens and Men in Black and The Matrix, and, you know, what if there is some validity to these films, but in our reality? You know, I mean, I see a ton of memes that say, you know, take the red pill, take the blue pill, you know, and for those of us who have examined or at least said what if to that being a possibility, yeah, I think about that all the time. And right now this conversation is like taking the red pill, you know?
And that's what I try to do. Look, I do a sports show called The Unhappy Hour. Up until the Cavs, the Indians, Cavs, and Browns had never brought me a championship until LeBron defied all odds and defeated the global behemoth. I mean, the story of LeBron James is really, in the Cleveland Cavaliers, really is a story of the election. Like I said in my previous show, it's like an energy vortex opened up over Cleveland and brought the Cleveland Cavaliers their first ever championship, and then shortly thereafter, within about a month, Donald Trump and the RNC moved into town, and both of them pulled off the unexpected, the absolute miracle. Everybody favored the Warriors, everybody favored Clinton. But anyway, the story, what I was getting at is that I follow sports. That's my bread and circuses. I understand it's not. I understand how frivolous it is, but I also understand there's a lot of really important life lessons about dedication and technique and teamwork and focus and effort and all of those things. There's in strategy. There's so much that can come out of the sports world. It's not totally worthless, but I understand what it is. But I mean, I need to have some sort of balance in my life to cover things that are irrelevant and then like the biggest, most important issues of our time, such as who are we, how do we get here, what are we supposed to do, what happens when we leave. It's not complicated, but I try to bring some of the sports people, the point I was making, I try to bring some of the sports people into the conversation, about a crazy block or a shot by Kyrie Irving, and then get them talking politics and then take them here to this graduate level course and go, hey, playing the what if game is batshit crazy. It is the most fun thing you can do because everything is a possibility. It's an infinite realm of possibility. Let's talk about all of these stories,
I totally feel you. And talking about sports, I have never really been very into sports. So watching these Trump rallies at these arenas with 30,000 people, I mean, to me, that was like my sport event. I was just like, I couldn't believe how many people, and people of all different races and colors and creeds. And I mean, there was hashtag Chinese Americans for Trump. And I remember seeing that and I'm like, is that an actual hashtag? Like, do people actually, and I clicked on it and sure enough, there was plenty of posts and plenty of photos and plenty of what nobody saw on the mainstream media, and so, but like you were talking about sports, it's energy. It's people gathering together in a certain place and putting a certain consciousness out in the universe and a certain energy out in the universe. And for whatever reason, that area right now is just like, in our matrix, that area on the map, on the grid is on fire, and that actually brings me up to want to talk about like the whole ancient alien things. And there's like the 33-degree ley line. Are you familiar with that? I'm sure you are.
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah, that basically every major structure on the planet, the pyramids, Stonehenge, Washington, are all lined up perfectly on the 33rd degree ley line. And that's like your longitude lines and your latitude lines. And so when you start playing a what if game and you start digging for documentaries where there's people talking about actual, like factual things, like I just stated, that all of these, these big structures coincidentally are all on the same ley line on the planet. When you start thinking of things in terms like actual numbers and degrees and location, it starts painting a bigger picture for you, and you can actually start seeing that there's a bigger picture. You start taking your consciousness up from, looking out the window of a first floor of a tall building to slowly making your way all the way up to the very top of the building where you're standing on the roof and you can see forever, and actually I had a book that was on chakras, and it was a book that actually on the Sarah Silverman program, like I was saying earlier, Laura, Sarah's sister in real life and on the show, used to like totally make fun of me for reading this book. Oh, chakras. I'm like, whatever, chick, get out of here. Like I'm smarter than you are. You're just on TV talking about poop. But yeah, in the book it talked about our levels of consciousness, and that we're like a building. You have your first window, and let's say that just like the chakras of the body, there's 7 chakras, which if you've looked at like a picture of like Buddha sitting with his legs crossed and there's those rainbow circles in alignment from like his crotch up to his head, you know what I'm talking about?
Do you like Alex Gray's artwork?
I do, yeah. Oh yeah, his shit's like next level, yeah.
Yeah, I love looking at his work when he has the chakras activated and it's just like radiating out into the universe and you're like, oh man. I could spend the rest of my life studying this and not really understand just how powerful whatever's happening is.
I mean, I feel like we're gonna find out. I'm excited.
I know. I am too.
optimistic.
I am too. I think the pineal gland is our Wi-Fi. You know, I think I've figured that out.
Totally. I know anyone listening right now, get rid of your fluoridated toothpaste. The gums are extremely absorbent. I mean, that's why, you know, when you're having a good night with, you know, the white snowflake stuff.
Sorry, I was never a model at Trump's place. I don't know the stuff you're talking about.
So actually none of that happened, at least not that I saw. But yeah, get that shit out of your toothpaste. I actually work for a company called Brush with Bamboo. It's a bamboo toothbrush company because did you know that every single toothbrush that has been created since 1939, when the petroleum-based plastic toothbrush, yes, you're putting petroleum into your body, and actually a little bit of it leaches into your mouth when you open up a new toothbrush. That's why it kind of has that funny taste to it. It's the plastic. But anyway, every single toothbrush on the planet still exists since 1939 because they are not recyclable or biodegradable. And that is actually another big mission I'm on right now, is the environmental awareness, because
well, what's Trump going to do with the environment? He's just going to open up fracking and oil and getting rid of the climate change agenda? Come on, that's something you got to have a really strong reservation about.
It is. That is something that the hashtag hold him accountable. We need to, yeah. I mean, we've already seen that we do have a voice out in North Dakota. Yeah, we definitely have a voice, and
I saw you checked in there. How was it when you went? I saw you checked in there. It was pretty cool, huh?
I actually didn't. No, I didn't check in. A lot of people were doing that. I didn't check in because my phone wouldn't let me.
I did. I had a friend do something, and I interacted with him online, and I looked. It was very late, and I said, "Sure, I'll check in. All right, I get it." And then I woke up the next day, I'm like, "Oh," but you know, I thought it was beautiful because it was just setting another set of. You know what I liken it to? I liken it to when we all went out to the Bundy Ranch, whenever that was, a year or 2 years ago, whenever it was. It was more eyes out there to let everybody know, hey, you guys, everybody here better be on their best behavior. We're going to watch this because we don't want to see stupid stuff happen. Calm down. And that's kind of essentially what happened. It was very powerful to put all those eyes on there. But anyway, I digress. You were saying.
I don't even remember. Well, I was talking about Brush with Bamboo and fluoride and whatnot. Oh, well, you can buy non-fluoridated natural toothpaste. And there's a big movement of sustainability and what they call zero waste. The zero waste movement is starting, and it's starting with a lot of moms and on social media, and that is something that we need to focus on no matter what the decision is that our government makes, that Trump makes about oil and fracking. Of course, we need to protest that, but we need to bring things closer to home. We're so busy. I mean, I don't want to say give up your power and don't protest, you know, these oil pipelines for water, but do that, but also concentrate on things as simple as stop using fluoride. You know, do your research, learn about these things that you hear your hippy dippy friends talk about that you think is kind of crazy. Find out why they're saying what they're saying. And you might still not agree with it or like it, but this is the time we're in right now, is being able to take in new information.
Well, they say in the age of information, ignorance is a choice, and I really think that there is some truth to that. I think if you're living through 2016 and you're not taking some time to do your own research and that you're not curious about the world, really, if you're not going to be curious and really dig into the important stuff, then maybe let the adults handle the decision making. If you want to play around, just play around. Don't harm anybody. Don't bother anybody. Do your thing. But
we're seeing an upsurge of people who have not paid attention to anything that really matters. Or really digging and finding out, doing the homework on laws and regulations and things like that. We have people protesting an election we just had, which was completely, it was democracy. They're protesting the very thing that they're trying to stand for, which is just so ironic and hilarious to me and really sad, because it's a testament of our education system and another confirmation of what we're all saying, which is that this system that we're in now, it's not working.
Exactly. It's not, but the beauty is cockroaches don't like sunlight. They hate sunlight. So, every time we check into a place in Dakota and we're laughed at, fine, it wasn't important. Every time we go cover an event because we think it's important to let people know, hey, calm this stuff down. Hey, you know what? You look at what's going on in the media, you look at what happened with the people that used to just have every ounce possible of manipulation, power, control. They had the abilities, they had the tools, they used them often, and they're used to getting what they want. It didn't work this time around. So a rainbow, a unicorn moment has occurred, and something happened that was not expected to happen, probably wasn't supposed to happen. It's going to be a very interesting ride moving forward.
The whole damn time I'm watching these TV.
All right, I'll give you that. You can look back through my posts and go through my radio shows. I have a track record, and I believe I have been pretty convinced that there's no way Hillary could possibly win this. If America has any sense at all, she'll be rejected soundly. And anyway, I'm just surprised it was as close as it was. But hey, I'll tell you what, this is it's an interesting time we're living in. I encourage everybody to check us out on Facebook, and you the same. So I'll give you the last 30 seconds here as we wrap this one up. The floor is yours.
You are cutting out.
Perfect. Well then, hey, let me lower the music, because I'll tell you, everything about this
now I can hear you.
is going weird. So, in the last 30 seconds, the floor is yours. Say your piece, and we're wrapping this up.
So much to say. I have to tell you though, the day after the election, I felt freaking amazing. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I went out to a burger joint with a girlfriend, and we made friends with a bunch of people. We didn't talk politics once. We talked art. We talked culture. We even exchanged information and gave each other hugs goodbye. Then yesterday, I'm sitting in my car, putting on a little mascara at a stoplight, and I look and someone's looking at me, and he tells me I look great. And we had a quick little exchange, and I drove off. And in the past 48 hours, 72 hours, I've had really positive interactions with people, and I'm in Los Angeles. I haven't actually seen any riots. I've heard helicopters, but I do believe that in some way we create our own reality, and I'm feeling good and attracting positive people around me, and do feel a sense of unity that has transpired from this whole movement. And I've been calling it a movement, just like Trump called it a movement, just like you go and listen to people that were attending his rallies calling it a movement. So people just need to relax. Just take 5, relax, meditate, and I think realize that it's up to us to create with our collective consciousness. And if we could all get on the same page and realize that nothing is black or white or red or blue. It's in the middle. It's a harmony. It's a yin and a yang. And one can't survive without the other. So you know what? if Donald Trump has more of the white light in him, which I actually do believe he does, and even if there's still other people that have control that are more of the dark, if we can at least fuse the two together, that very well might be our exact answer. And we just need to collectively hold both sides, both people accountable, not get too excited about one thing or the other, and just really realize that, at any moment, God or whatever else, exists. I mean, I believe it's definitely God, which we should talk about the views on. I have had some very interesting faith restored, and I'm like, I kind of want to go to church this weekend, and I haven't felt that way in a long time. But yeah, at the end of the day, God, the universe, is in control, and we could be struck down at any moment, and we just need to keep that in the back of our heads. So here we are on this ball. It might not even be a ball. Maybe it's flat. I'm not going to say I know one way or the other.
Oh, we're into the flat Earth stuff. There is nowhere near enough time to get into the flat Earth theory. Every time I discuss any conspiracy stuff, we end up on flat Earth. But no, yeah, I think we need to force ourselves to have more civil conversations, especially with those we disagree with. And I think we need to invite people in, which is why we call this show Agree to Disagree. And I really like what you're saying, and I think you should radiate this message out. If we see Trump pull any nonsense or start going down some weird Hitler road, guess what? We're going to hold him accountable, and we would be right there with them, shoulder to shoulder. Don't worry. We're just trying to clean up a few things and get things back on track. It ain't like that. So, hey, I'll tell you what, Nicole, we will have another chat again soon. I do appreciate your time. To be continued. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you. I hope we weren't too all over the place for people.
No, not at all. I think that's the point, is you got to have conversations that ramble. You got to have open forums where you're allowed to kind of dance into politics and dance into spirituality and metaphysics and get into the meaning of life and religion and God and finance and safety and security and First Amendment issues. I mean, these are the conversations people need to have. Please try to surround yourself with people or encourage people to disagree in a polite way, agree to disagree, and then move on to the next subject. I did. I thanked my buddy for being mostly civil so we could kind of spar back and forth. It's helping both of us sharpen our arguments, and I think that's what's needed right now is better ideas working
from
together.
Both sides.
Exactly.
So, and that's what it's all about, is we're all just here with a bunch of opinions, and at the end of the day, no one knows what the hell's going on. That is another thing and another topic for another time, but once you realize that none of us really have any confirmation that what we think means anything, we don't really know anything.
Exactly. Well, we do the best we can. We got to trust our instinct, our intuition, and my intuition is keeping Hillary Clinton out of that position of power was the best thing for all of humanity. Nicole, thanks for your time. We'll do this again soon. You take care.
All right, sounds good.
And for everybody else out there in the TNAM radio network, I just want to thank you for sticking with us through all of the technical glitches that we have had over the years. It's pretty astonishing, but we're going to get this sorted out. 5.5 years. Check out all of the archive shows. TheNewAmericanMedia.com. Go to YouTube.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Click subscribe. On Twitter, we're at American_Media_ and join us on Facebook and Instagram. Just do the search, The New American Media. My name's Brian Engelman, signing out. Just want to say I appreciate you, I love you, and we'll talk again soon. Take care. Peace.